by the California Teachers Association, the California School Boards Association, and the California Library Association.
Is it possible to drive a car and still have a clean environment? To refine a cleaner gasoline? To build a bridge from oil to renewable energy? Could business go further and be a force for good? Can 100,000 people in 100 countries come together to build a new brand of progress? We think so. BP is proud to bring you California's gold. Beyond petroleum, BP.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and this is a little fish. And it's not just any little old fish either. This is a little rainbow trout. And of course, rainbow trout are found in our lakes and rivers and streams all over California. Now we're excited because we've been invited to accompany this little fish on a trip. And this trip is going to take us to some beautiful places too. This little fish is part of history. And if you're interested in where we're going to go and what we're going to see and where this little trout is going to end up, well, as always, you're invited to come along with us as we go with the trout in search of California's gold. Okay, the fish adventure begins, and it's one of those nice, cool, balmy days here in Fresno. It's about 108 inside and outside.
Yes, it is.
All right, let's meet everybody. Your name is?
Ron Sammer. I'm the manager one here at San Joaquin Hatchery.
San Joaquin Hatchery near Fresno.
Near Fresno.
And your name is?
Greg Pape. I'm the manager at San Joaquin Hatchery.
Nice to meet you all. Right off the bat, I got to say something. I've never seen this many fish in my life. How many fish have we got here? And these are all rainbow trout, aren't they?
Each trough has about 15,000 fish in it.
Each one of these troughs has 15,000 little rainbow trout. Now, where do these little rainbow trout come from?
We get the eggs from other hatcheries, and we raise the fish up here to plant them.
Okay, to plant them, because now we're beginning to unveil what's happening. What does he mean by plant them?
Well, we'll plant them in creeks, lakes, and reservoirs from here. We get them as eggs, like Greg said, and we'll weigh them out and take it from there.
All right, so they're born here. They grow up here.
Yes, they do.
And then you take them out across California. Why? Why do you need to take them somewhere else?
Well, because the amount of fishing pressure that happens around in this area, we cover about 5 to 6 counties. We have generally a lot of people coming in that want to catch a fish, some for the first time, some that have been doing it for years, and we provide a resource that they enjoy coming out and fishing for.
So you're restocking lakes and streams with rainbow trout?
Exactly.
All right, now how does this work? Show me what's going on here. We got a scale, we got a bucket, and we got 28 billion trout in here. And by the way, the little trout that I was holding at the beginning here was bigger than what I'm seeing in here. So they literally come in all shapes and sizes, don't they?
Yeah, this is the size of the fish we plant in our high mountain lakes. And each lake gets a certain amount of fish depending on the size of the lake. So we weigh out the fish to determine how many fish are going to each lake.
All right, let's weigh them out. That's pretty simple, isn't it? You just put the net in here.
Yep.
Look at this. You just, boy, there, talk about fish in a barrel. Look at this. Ha! Now, how many fish are in that net?
About anywhere from 4 to 5 pounds.
And how many individual fish do you think that is? A couple of thousand?
A couple thousand, probably.
All right, we pretty well got them out of there, so
yeah,
let's do them again.
I'll scoop it again.
All right, now we just put it in the bucket.
Yeah, we do. Turn the scale so I can read it.
Don't let any of them splash out. We don't want to lose any of them now. So these are going to high lakes, high up in the Sierra.
Yes.
So that means they have to be smaller? Why is that?
We plant the larger fish in the more accessible areas where people catch them out right away. In these high mountain lakes, it'll be a year or two before they grow up to a catchable size.
All right, so we're weighing them out. We're filling all these buckets full of little rainbow trout, and they're getting ready to be planted. We're going to leave the hatchery, right?
Yes, sir.
About 10 miles from here, our little rainbow trout adventure will continue bright and early tomorrow morning. Okay, time has passed. It is now early morning, the next morning, and we are still on our trout adventure. And in order to go with the guys from Fish and Game and actually plant those little trout, now we can give away the reason we are so excited about this adventure, because look where we've come. We're at the Fresno Airport. There are the little fish over there being loaded into a big airplane. And this is kind of sad. You're giving up your little trout.
Yeah, I'm giving them up to Gary here, and he's going to take them up in the airplane.
All right, we're going up in an airplane, and this is part of the history of fish planting in California, isn't it? These airplanes.
That's right. It's been going on for over 50 years now. And we're trying to keep the tradition alive and help the anglers and the backpackers when they go on up there, that they got something to catch.
So basically, we're going today to some very isolated lakes that the only way basically we can get up there is by airplane. And you're going to plant these lakes from the air. Now let's don't go into a lot of details right now because I want to take off, but you're going to be dropping them out of the plane into the lakes.
That's right. Yeah, they're going to be dropped from the airplane. They're managed by us, and while we're up there until we actually release them and let them into the lakes, and then we don't worry about them anymore. And they're off on their own.
All right, your little fish, you can say goodbye because we're getting ready to, they're in their last stages of being loaded in the plane. We're going to get loaded in the plane. We're going to take off and we're going to plant some rainbow trout from the air. Before we took off, the little trout from the hatchery were poured from big cans into compartments on board the plane. Compartments from which they would soon be dropped. All was ready and adrenaline was flowing as our airborne trout adventure began. We're airborne with the fish. And Gary, this is very exciting. I've got a lot of fish questions for you.
You bet, yo.
Why are we in the air with these fish? Why? Is it because that's the only way we can get them to these lakes? These lakes are so isolated?
Well, at this time, yes, it would take all summer just to take care of 200 lakes. At one time, we were planting up to 900 lakes. This round, we're going to do 13 lakes in less than about an hour.
Now, how would they have done it before?
Well, they used to pack them back on mules. They had specially made cans with screens on top, and they had burlap sacks. And they load them in on the mules, starting mostly from the eastern side, Mammoth, Bishop. They go through Paiute Pass or through Mammoth Pass, and then they'd spend all summer back here on the eastern slope of the Sierras planting fish.
And somebody from Fish and Game came up with the idea that it'd be easier and more efficient to do it by air. When did that start?
Well, testing started in 1947, and with our first pilot, Al Reese. And he started with an old ragwing airplane. It had a radial engine in it, two-seater, had the old crank window in it, and they had a hatchery person in the right seat. And the testing that they did was they throw them out with a parachute. Not little individual parachutes, but in a small can.
This is a proud California Fish and Game tradition now, isn't it?
That's right. We've been doing this for years. We're the oldest Air Force and state agency. We've been doing this for years. 60 years almost, and we're continuing to go. Now I want to mention that we don't just drop fish anywhere. It's all predetermined. We got to make sure, because of environmental issues and such, that we drop them in the same lake. So we identify it with a GPS. We use this GPS is programmed. Plus,
pull out those pictures. Where are those pictures?
And that's the other thing, is we identify him with a picture. He's got the first picture here.
Want me to get in? Let's see this thing.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and So if the first lake that we're gonna go to is Frog Lake, and so it's located on here somewhere. It's written on the picture.
So you're just finding the lake from this aerial photography?
Using GPS, and then we identify it. Now the thing about the lake, you know, the camera probably see Margaret. We're gonna be doing that one next. Margaret is very easy to identify. It's got these two little areas to the north. That hasn't changed in 60 years. So that's how we identify it, and then we mark it with a GPS. We have a small computer, and we can go back later and make sure that that was the lake where those fish ended up.
All right, now, we're kind of flying along easy right now, but you're smiling because you know what's ahead, don't you?
Yeah, it's pretty smooth, and the approach to the lake, you're gonna see nothing but trees, water, and granite, pretty much. We're gonna descend down, level off about 200 feet above the lake, and then Wayne here is gonna, when he feels comfortable, he's gonna drop those fish when he feels that he's at the middle of it, power up, climb out, turn out, and then we go on to our next destination.
So we're kind of dive bombing down to these lakes, aren't we?
Yeah, it's kind of fitting since the early pilots, they were all B-24 and B-25 bombers, you know, so they felt right at home doing this.
Here we go.
Okay, fish are down.
Fish are down?
Fish are down in the hopper. Now they're without oxygen, just water. Wayne's coming around to the highest point of Frog Lake, and we have it identified. It's gonna come into view right here in the windscreen, okay?
Boy, we are going way down.
Yeah, and there's the lake right there.
Okay, the lake is right.
Oh, actually it's off here off our left.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, it's confirmed. Okay, Wayne's dropping down.
Oh my gosh.
We're okay. We're fine. Just hold on.
Oh. Oh.
Okay.
Whoa. We're right over the lake now.
Right now, he's gonna drop them, right? There they go, okay.
Fish dropped.
Fish are dropped, power up. We're gonna go ahead and turn out. You might be able to see them out at the port side over there.
Oh my gosh.
Coming around. Keep it out there. Bullseye.
Bullseye.
Yeah, he got him. He nailed it right in the middle.
Okay. We're banking in. Where are we going now?
We're gonna go to Devil's Bathtub, and we got 4 cans, probably about 6,000 fish that we're dropping in at Devil's Bathtub.
Devil's Bathtub.
Yeah, it actually it's very rectangular, and it looks like a bathtub that the devil would probably take a bath in. That's how it got its name. There it is, just off.
How does a pilot learn how to navigate these mountains?
Well, we're using GPS, photograph, memory.
Yeah, but I mean navigate them without hitting them.
Oh, well, you know, it just takes practice. As soon as we get the lake under our heels and we know that they're there, we're going to go ahead and drop them, and 99% of the time we're going to hit that lake. Even if it's
I
real
said
small.
hit the mountains.
Oh, we don't want to hit the mountains, but we never have and we never will. Okay,
I mean,
here
it
comes.
takes a lot of skill to go in between these mountains to find these lakes.
Yes, it does. You know, I'm based out of this area, so I know it very well. And there's our lake right there, a nice big one. Wayne, I'm going to follow you with another set.
Okay, so we're going right in over the lake.
Yeah, it is. 2 are down, 2 to follow.
There's the lake. Devil's Bathtub. We're over the bathtub, and we're getting ready to drop the fish. Fish dropped. And now we're climbing back up. We hit the lake, dead center. Oh my gosh. We're going down. We're over the lake.
Here we go.
There go the fish.
Go off to the left.
We're climbing up. We're banking to the left. Wow.
They're in. Okay.
They're in. Boy, I see what you're talking about now about getting a little airsick because you're going down and up so quickly. We are flying over some rough country up here.
Yeah, it is pretty rough. And if you can imagine, 60 years ago, plus these guys coming back here on mules and doing this and spending all summer. And we can get it done in early morning.
Look at the size of these mountains.
Oh yeah, you're talking some of the most treacherous terrain out here. It's even treacherous for an airplane. So, you know, you can see some and feel some little bumps right now. That's why we do it so early in the morning, because it does get pretty rough out here.
We're going down in all these air currents around the mountains.
Sure, because of orographic lifting and such. You know, the winds want to come across the hills out here and they start whipping around just like a stream has eddy currents. You know, so we're going to get knocked around as we go around through here.
All right, so we heading down now?
Yeah, we got one identified. We dropped him down to the hopper. Wayne's going to go ahead and approach it. Looks like
oh my gosh, looks like we're flying into this mountain. Look at this. Look at this mountain. It's dead ahead.
Measure down. Scoop Lake.
Oh my gosh. We need to go up.
No, we're okay. We're doing good.
Whoa! Look ahead of us. There's nothing but mountain ahead of us. I didn't even look down at the lake that time. I want to make sure we get over these mountains. Whoa!
We're fine. This airplane has plenty of power to get us out of it. Unlike the last ones that we had, you know, 50 years ago. Next lake. Okay,
I
next
gotta
lake.
tell you, that kind of weirded me out being that close to the mountain.
Okay, next one is Brave Lake, 4397. So go to...
Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah, weirded out. Yeah, but we're used to it.
Yeah, but I'm not. I thought we were going to go into the side of the mountain.
No way. Well, that's the way it looks, but you know, we operate under the utmost safety. We got a real good safety record, and we're going to keep it that way. Okay.
Wow. Whew, boy, did it feel good to be back on the ground. And as our trout adventure continued, next we traveled by horseback deep into the John Muir Wilderness in the Sequoia National Forest. Now, we'd already experienced from the air what it was like to drop fish. Now we were on our way to a beautiful High Sierra lake to watch as the fish came down. We were definitely covering all angles. We have reached our destination, and Alan, you're the owner of this pack outfit, and you're the guide as well, and look where we have arrived. This, I don't know exactly what I had expected, but this is the most spectacular view. Is this what you call an alpine Sierra lake?
That's correct, Huel. It's typical because the tree line is just above us, and it's down where the vegetation is, which allows for fuel and insects for the fish, and it has all the correct ingredients for a great experience in the wilderness.
This is, just getting here was so amazing. I know you do it all the time, so you're used to it. For us, I don't think I've ever been through scenery like this before.
And this is the kind of thing everybody needs to experience to appreciate what we have here in the Sierra Nevadas.
Look at the reflection of the trees in the lake. What's the name of this lake?
This is called Duck Lake.
Duck Lake. I don't see any ducks.
Well, there was, and that's why it got its name, and we may get lucky. But we also see fish jumping out here, and as the evening progresses, you'll see more fish jumping. Excellent fishing lake for catching a lot of fish.
Rainbow trout.
Rainbow, brook, a lot of different species in here.
And look, it's not a very big lake. That's all there is to it right over here. It's just a very small. Is this the average size of a Sierra Alpine lake?
Correct. They're anywhere from 3 acres to 10 acres. There's a few big ones that are into the 40 acres, but most of them are this size.
How big is this?
This is about 3-acre lake.
And is this a natural thing? It looks like a landslide over
That
there.
is. That's all rock slide moraine from the exfoliation from the granite on the hillside that spills down into it.
Wow, we're going to be camping right here. This is about as beautiful a place as I have ever been in my life.
Then you need to come more often.
Because there are a lot of these.
A lot of these. I have 100 of these lakes just in my packing area alone.
Well,
And
we're going to be spending the night at this one at Duck Lake. Let's get out of the way so we can get a good shot of it. This is what we're going to be looking out at tonight as we lay in our tents, sit by our campfire. We're going to be looking out at this amazing alpine lake, Duck Lake. It looks like a postcard, like it ought to be on a calendar. And we're here to see it for ourselves. Before hitting the sack, it was time for a hearty High Sierra meal, prepared by producer Phil Noyes, who is quite the chef. Trust me, after this meal, we were all full and happy and slept like little babies.
How about the beans?
Morning has dawned, and after a great night's sleep out underneath the sky that was filled with an almost full moon, which cast a glow out across the lake that was just spectacular, and after having a couple of cups of homemade cowboy coffee, we are ready to start the last chapter of our rainbow trout adventure. And Dale, this is going to be exciting because the same two pilots that flew us yesterday are almost here. They're getting ready to swoop down over this lake and release the trout. So we're going to be able to see it from another perspective from the way we saw it in the plane yesterday.
That's right. It's probably they'll come in from the pass up above, they'll fly down over the lake, drop the trout, and then make an exit flying downhill over the tops of the trees here. They'll be very close. Airplane's going to look very large when it gets up close.
And they're going to just swoop down, and I tell you what, they're going to make a quick exit, because after being with them yesterday, I know how they swoop down and swoop up.
The lake has no ripples on it at all right now, so we should easily be able to see the fish when they come out of the plane and hit the water.
All right, now while we're waiting for the plane to arrive, you've got a piece of trout history, rainbow trout history here. Hold that thing up and explain to everybody what we're looking at, because this is absolutely fascinating.
Well, what this looks like is a giant hip flask, and it's actually intended to be worn on the side of a horse. The straps fit over the forks of a pack saddle. And they used to, back at the turn of the century, up until about the 1950s, when we started to use the airplane, these were what the means that were used for stocking trout through the High Sierra. They'd put about half a volume of water in there with the trout, and this screen on the top enabled the trout to stay in the can and water to be added or as needed, and it also enabled it, as it sloshed on the horse, water would slosh out of the can, get the burlap wet, which made an evaporative cooler that kept it cool along the trail.
Okay, so here's the deal. We're in radio contact with the plane. The plane is, here it is, right here. Here comes the plane. Boy, he's coming in low again, too. Oh, my gosh.
Yeehaw.
Now he's getting ready to dive bomb us. Here he comes.
Straight down now.
Oh, my gosh. Here come the fish.
Woo!
Hey! Oh my gosh!
He cut him loose early.
Wonder what those fish are thinking.
They're thinking, glad that ride's over.
Good fishing, and I got to tell you, I don't know much about fishing, but I do know this: in a couple of years, there's going to be some real good rainbow trout fishing here in Duck Lake, don't you think?
There's good fishing now, and there will be thanks to the plane.
Yeah, we saw a couple of thousand
That's
dumped
right.
in there,
That's
planted
right.
in there today. This has been an absolutely wonderful experience, learning about something about which I knew nothing before we started this adventure. Oh, I hope you've had as much fun as we have on this adventure as we've gone in search of the rainbow trout, some fish which are very much a part of California's gold.
With the crew on board, the flight into the rugged mountains is underway. Fingerlings are used for airdrops because more can be carried by the plane. The dropper, shown here, is the man responsible for releasing the fish at the proper time. Takeoffs are made from airstrips at lower elevations to allow the plane to carry maximum loads. Just after takeoff, the pilot sets his course for the first drop point. The man at the hopper works fast to prepare the first hopper of fingerlings. Far below, the first lake is located, and the dropper prepares to unload his cargo. The plane drops rapidly toward the lake at a high speed, which will help later in the climb out. We are at 300 feet over the surface of the lake to make our first drop of the day. The hopper is opened, and the spray containing the fingerlings falls toward the surface of the lake. The pilot's skill must be at its best here as he skims over the terrain. The engines strain mightily to lift the aircraft over the onrushing peak. Once again, the hopper is prepared with another load of fingerlings. The work has just begun, and this dangerous game of hedge hopping over the peaks and dropping back into the valleys continues until the entire load has been deposited. As we look back, the fish hitting the water show that the dropper has accomplished his task perfectly. That was the last step. Next year, they will be ready and waiting for the anglers. As long as the land is as nature made it, in the high Sierra, trout will be a rare and precious treasure to discover.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and I sure hope you enjoyed our High Sierra adventure with California's flying trout. It's definitely part of our history, and if you'd like to see it again, share it with family or friends, or perhaps donate a copy to your local school or library. It's available on video cassette and on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away. And good fishing!
Is it possible to drive a car and still have a clean environment? To refine a cleaner gasoline? To build a bridge from oil to renewable energy? Could business go further and be a force for good? Can 100,000 people in 100 countries come together to build a new brand of progress? We think so. BP is proud to bring you California's gold. Beyond petroleum. BP.
Mission San Juan Capistrano has the distinction of being the first European settlement in Orange County. It was founded in 1776 by Spanish missionaries and was the seventh in a series of 21 California missions. Originally, there was a church, a military garrison, and a small village or pueblo. The buildings were constructed of locally produced adobe brick and tile. Most of the labor was provided by Indians who had been forcibly moved from their villages to the mission site. With the mission as a core, San Juan Capistrano grew slowly but steadily over the next half-century. In 1883, the mission period came to an abrupt end when the newly independent government of Mexico ordered the secularization of all church-owned lands in California. Lacking proper maintenance, the mission buildings soon fell into ruin. Around the turn of the century, however, a preservation effort was mounted, and many parts of the mission were restored, allowing visitors to experience an important chapter in Orange County history.
Expand your mind with Orange County Public Television, KOCE, and KOCE-DT Digital Television.
This program is made possible in part by Doral Arrowwood Resort and Conference Center, proud supporters of this PBS special and Robert Kiyosaki's philosophy. Doral Arrowwood Resort and Conference Center, where entrepreneurial spirit is supported every day. And by...
This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Investor, educator, and author Robert Kiyosaki has changed millions of lives all over the world. His book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, has been on the New York Times bestseller list for over 5 years. We all know that the gap between the haves and have-nots is growing, and Social Security and Medicare are in a financial mess. And just affording to live is getting expensive. So how does a person get ahead financially? The answer